And okay.
Hello, and welcome to the interview for our subject of pragmatics in intercultural communication. My name is Ilya. You can call me Ilya, and I'm joined with my partner.
Yeah, hello. My name is
Partner
Farah
says
Wahida. Nice to meet you.
Yo, what's up? I'm Doğukan and I'm from Turkey. I have a university entrance exam, so I studied in Japan for 1 year, and I know some languages, so that's me.
All right. Thank you so much, Logan. May we know where are you from and a little bit of your background?
Okay, that's cool. I live in Turkey. Izmir is a very big city, I think, third biggest city in Turkey. And I went to Japan with a scholarship from the Japanese government, and I'm able to speak Japanese and English, and I'm studying Arabic and Portuguese right now. So that's me, basic, a Turkish boy.
Wow. All right, that's really cool. All right, now we're going to start with the first question of our interview. The first one I'd like to ask, are there any slang or accents that you notice when living as a Turkish student in Turkey?
Yeah, definitely. In Turkey, slangs change a lot of depending on the region and the age group. For example, young people in Istanbul use very different slang compared to those in smaller cities or rural areas. Also, the accent can be quite distinct, like Istanbul accent sounds softer, while accent from the places like the Black Sea region or the southeastern Turkey have unique tones that easy to recognize. As a student, I hear a lot of new slangs from my friends and the social media.
So, how does slang change between different generations in Turkish culture, specifically among millennials and Generation Z?
So millennials tend to use slangs more influenced by the TV show and pop culture or traditional Turkish sayings. On the other hand, Gen Z slangs is more internet-based, mixing English words between the new versions from the social media. Sometimes millennials find Gen Z's slangs too fast or confusing, but it's interesting to how language evolves so quick.
All right, that's interesting. And the second question is, how does communicating in your workplace in Turkey differ from those in other cultures in terms of directness and formality?
In Turkish workplace, communication tend to a bit formal, especially with the older colleges or more traditional companies. People often use polite language and titles at first. However, once you build a trust, communication becomes more relaxed and sometimes even humorous compared to some Western cultures where directness is highly valued. Turkish communication can be indirect and polite to avoid conflict or disrespect.
What problems did you face when working with people from cultures that prefer indirect communication?
When I work with people from very indirect communication cultures, it was sometimes hard to understand their real feelings or opinions. They might would say no indirectly, which causes confusion or some mistakes in decision making. At first, I felt a bit frustrated because I was used to more straightforward, more direct feedbacks. But over time, I learned to read between the lines and pay attention to nonverbal cues.
Right.
See. All right, and the next question is, how does the concept of personal space differ in Turkish culture compared to other cultures?
The Turkish people usually stand closer to each other during the conversation compared to people from the Northern Europe or like United States, the Western cultures. It's normal a bit physical close, especially among the very close friends and families. This can sometimes surprise for foreigners who are used to more personal space. It shows warmth and friendliness rather than the being invasive.
Mm. So, can you share an experience where misunderstanding personal space led to a funny or awkward situation in Turkey?
Once I had a foreign friend visiting Turkey who stepped back when someone stood close during a chat. The Turkish person took a step forward and my friend stepped back again, and we ended up doing a funny little dance. It was awkward, but also funny because it shows how different we understand the personal space.
That's very interesting.
Right. Okay, and also we're gonna talk about non-verbal communication now. So how does eye contact play a role in communication within Turkish culture?
In Turkey, eye contact is very important. It shows respect, honesty, and interests in conversation. People usually maintain a very strong eye contact when talking, especially in serious discussions. I think avoiding eye contact might be seen as a suspicious or rude. However, with the elders or people in authority, sometimes less direct eye contact is a sign of respect.
Uh, have you ever noticed a situation where differing views on eye contact cause confusion or miscommunication in Turkey?
Yeah, I remember meeting with a foreign exchange student who avoided eye contact because that was normal in their culture, but Turkish people thought he was sharing something or hiding something. It created some misunderstandings until we explained that it's just the cultural differences, and everybody relaxed afterward.
All right, nice. And the next question is, how do different cultures cause conflict in terms of interpersonal relationships among students in Turkey?
So, cultural differences sometimes causes some conflict because people have different ways to expressing themselves or handling disagreements. For example, some students might be more direct while other prefers to avoid conflict and stay polite. These differences can lead to misunderstandings or feeling of disrespect if people don't understand each other's background.
So, can you give an example of a misunderstanding that happened because of cultural differences in Turkey?
Yeah, once a foreign student thought a Turkish classmate was being rude because they was so loud during a group work, and it was so normal for us, and we do in communication. But the foreigner student thought they was doing something rude. When we explained this, everyone understood better, and we group worked more smoothly after that.
So, I believe that's the last question we have for today. Thank you again to Dogan
All
for
right,
coming for this interview.
mhm.
It's okay. So nice to meet you all.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
to
you
meet
so
you too.
much for joining us in this interview.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.